America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now please remain standing as we honor our nation with the singing of our national anthem by students Maddie Griffith, Jerica Miller, and Elizabeth Layton. Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon and welcome to our annual Veterans Day program, proudly hosted by the Career Center's chapter of the National Technical Honor Society, or NTHS. My name is JC Aaronhall, a cosmetology program senior and your NTHS vice president. I would like to take this time to introduce my fellow NTHS members. Please hold your applause until all students are recognized. President Olivia Licky-Dono of Early Childhood Education, who is unable to be with us today due to illness. Secretary Faith Eudicious of Culinary Arts. Treasurer Maddie Griffith of Health Technology. Jonathan Hawthorne of NICS. Ashlyn Henry of Cosmetology. JJ Herman of Metal Fabrication. JC Hess of Health Technology. Mia Levine of Health Technology. Elizabeth Layton of Automotive Technology and Early Childhood Education. Haley Masters of Health Technology, who is unable to be with us due to work placement requirement. Rylan Medley of Cosmetology. Adriana Miller of Health Technology, who is unable to be with us today due to college class expectations. Dakota Mummy of Electrical Systems Technology. Haley Myers of Cosmetology. Grayson Searles of Metal Fabrication. Piper Smith of Health Technology. Chester Yoder of Construction Technology, who has enlisted in the Ohio National Guard and completed basic combat training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. On behalf of the National Technical Honor Society, we want to thank New Point Church for the use of their facilities. Thank you for your partnership with our school and our organization. We would also like to thank Lorene Hall and Sam Massey for help with our practices and the production. Thank you to Jacob Heading, Bryce Haynes, Natalie Holbrook, and Claxton Communications for live streaming today's event. Special thanks to Corey Kaufman for her work in designing the programs and Career Center administrators, Superintendent Mr. Matt Colvin and Principal Mr. Andy Slaughter for their ongoing support of the National Technical Honor Society. I would now like to introduce Ms. Piper Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we gather in honor and celebrate our veterans. But how did Veterans Day begin? Originally known as Armistice Day, it was first observed on November 11, 1919, marking the first anniversary of the end of World War I. In 1938, it became a national holiday. After World War II and the Korean War, Congress in 1954 changed the name to Veterans Day to honor all veterans who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. This day reminds us of the bravery and sacrifice of those who have fought and to protect our freedom. Next, we will hear from our Secretary, Faith Eudichus, who will help us to understand the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Thank you, Piper. While both Veterans Day and Memorial Day honor those who served, they do so in different ways. Memorial Day, observed in May, honors those who died in military service. Veterans Day, however, celebrates all veterans, those who have served in times of war and peace, living and deceased. Today, we focus on expressing our gratitude to the veterans among us, recognizing their sacrifices and contributions to our nation. Next, please welcome NTHS Treasurer Miss Maddie Griffith, who will discuss the significance of the red poppy.
Thank you, Faith. The red poppy has become a powerful symbol of remembrance for veterans. This tradition began after World War I, inspired by the poem In Flanders Fields. The poppy represents the blood shed during war and serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by our veterans. Wearing a poppy honors their courage and ensures we never forget their service. Please welcome back our NTHS Vice President, J.C. Ehrenholt, who will now introduce our guest speaker.
I am honored to introduce Sergeant Major Doug Schaefer. Doug Schaefer from Warsaw, Ohio, is a 1988 graduate of Riverview High School. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1989 and attended recruit training at Parris Island, South Carolina. He served 30 years in the Marine Corps and retired in April of 2019 at the rank of Sergeant Major. During his career, Doug served as an infantryman, drill instructor, and formal schools instructor. He has been stationed on both coasts and Hawaii, deployed 8 times, served in 2 tank battalions, 5 infantry battalions, all 3 Marine divisions, and 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing. Doug is a veteran of Desert Shield/Desert Storm, Kosovo, and Afghanistan. As a Sergeant Major, he has had the privilege to lead Marines and sailors serving with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, Marine Wing Support Squadron 271, Marine Air Control Squadron 2, 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit, and U.S. Marine Corps Forces Special Operations Command. His personal awards include the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, with 3 gold stars in lieu of 4th award. Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with Combat Distinguishing Device, and Combat Action Ribbon with 2 gold stars in lieu of 3rd award. After retirement, the Schaefers returned to Central Ohio, and Doug began work at the Coshocton County Veterans Service Office in September 2019 as a County Veterans Service Officer and became the director in August 2022. He and his wife, Carla, have been married for over 27 years and have 2 daughters, Elena, a graduate of Liberty University, and Lila Grace, a senior in high school. Please welcome Sergeant Major Doug Schaefer.
Everybody hear me? Good afternoon, faculty and students, and thank you for inviting me here today as you take time to honor Veterans Day. During the presentation, y'all have talked about the history of Veterans Day, how it came to be, the difference between Veterans and Memorial Days, and the significance of the poppy. So job well done there. I don't have to do that. During Veterans Day, there's usually speeches, ceremonies, articles in the paper and online, or in the news. It's always a time to reflect on what the cost of keeping a nation free is. A time when folks extend a hand and say thank you to someone you may know who served. Coshocton County is extremely patriotic. I'm thankful for that. For myself, though, as a vet, I personally try to keep a low profile. And I'm willing to bet a lot of my peers feel the same. Why? Because we just did what we did. We did our jobs, but we do appreciate it, though. We all have our reasons for joining. I joined because I wanted something different at 18. I needed a challenge. I chose the Corps simply because it's the hardest, and not many people around here go to it. It gave me direction, and I was able to do and see things the average American couldn't understand or relate to. The Marine Corps taught me teamwork, how to be successful in the face of adversity, discipline, responsibility. It enhanced my work ethic, and I got to serve alongside some of the best of what America has to offer. I've trained and mentored and deployed alongside, both in peacetime and combat, hundreds of Marines. As a Marine infantryman, I got to live the life of danger, and as a senior enlisted leader, probably the most rewarding. Leading Marines is a daily and sometimes daunting task, but nothing is more important in an organization than its people. Such as dry socks and hot chow, and gratitude. Serving also gives an individual the opportunity to see in real time how fortunate we really are in America. With all of our problems shouted at us daily on the 24-hour news cycle, we are a great nation, and in my opinion, one worth preserving and defending. While in the Corps, though, the best part of it was where I met my wife, Carla, who happens to be from Coshocton County as well. We have two girls who both grew up in the Corps. We had the opportunity to live on both coasts. We moved as a family 11 times, and most of our time ended up spending on the East Coast because we couldn't break the gravitational pull of Camp Lejeune. Went through about 13 hurricanes. They've had opportunities that I only wish I had growing up. We are truly a Marine family. But when you leave an organization that you spend 3 decades with, it just doesn't leave you, especially the Marine Corps. You had purpose. Everyone was mission-focused and rowing in the same direction. You have to find your why again, or something close to it, without forgetting who you are or where you came from. They call it assimilation, and really, in reality, to me, it's just another task or challenge, but not something that happens quickly. It has been and is still an ongoing process. For me, trying to live a life worthy of the sacrifices made by my Marines is always the goal. Making up for lost time with family. A job worth doing, working with my vets. Volunteering where I can, and staying fit and active so I'm not a burden as I age, and I can continue to do the things that I want to do. So I would ask you all the same. Are you doing all you can as an American to live up to the sacrifices made to maintain the freedoms that we hold so dear? Do you volunteer in your communities and your churches and give back? Are you exercising your rights as an American? Do you vote if you're eligible to do so? We all live busy lives, but in my humble opinion, we should take time to pay attention to the goings-ons around us and what affects our communities and our nation. Educate ourselves on the facts. Have civil conversations with one another despite our differences. Stay engaged as citizens and not assume our rights and freedoms are always going to be there without that service and sacrifice. President Ronald Reagan stated, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in the United States where men were free." Think about that. In regard to exercising our rights, and I'll go back to the voting. In the most recent election held last week, only about 28% of registered voters in the county went to the polls. About 6,100 people, and there's about a little over 21,000 in the county registered. Those polls are according to Tribune and unofficial results from the Coshocton County Board of Election. Surrounding counties were about the same, some less, some more. This is not an indictment, just an observation. Was there a lot on that ballot last week? If you read it, no, there really wasn't. But the bottom line is it was an election. Exercise your rights when you have the opportunity to make your voices heard, or those voices may not be there. During my tour in Marja, Afghanistan, can't really remember the month, the year was 2010, but the Afghans held an election. We were told as the Marines in our battle space we controlled to hold back and let the Afghans provide their own security, the Afghan Army and the Afghan National Police, to show that they could do it and put an Afghan face on their elections. Even regardless, we still had combat outposts and patrol bases hit that day, but they got beat down. of course, but to see the Afghans walk into the polls holding their finger in the air, so when they went to the polls, it was paper ballot, they had to dip their finger in purple ink. So they're walking around, men and women, holding their finger in the air as a sign of victory that they had the opportunity, they had a voice that day. I simply ask that we use our freedoms wisely and not take them for granted. And remember that all this place we call America, there's a cost to all this. And you all out there, the next generation, you're the ones in line to have the opportunity to make a difference. I also ask you that you talk to vets, young and old, and listen to their stories, because there's a story to be told. And you may be surprised where you find us. Like I said before, many of us keep a low profile because it's never been about us. And thank you all again for your time. Enjoy your freedoms. May God bless America and all those who defend her. Thank you.
At this time, our NTHS members will set the soldiers' table and explain its significance. The tradition of setting a separate table in honor of our prisoners of war and missing comrades has been in place since the end of the Vietnam War. The manner in which this table is decorated is full of special symbols to help us remember our brothers and sisters in arms. Listen closely and help us to remember.
The table is smaller than the others, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her oppressors. The table itself is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. Remember.
The white tablecloth draped over the table represents the purity of the soldiers' response to our country's call to arms. Remember.
The empty chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, but all who are not here with us. Remember.
The Bible represents faith in a higher power and the pledge to our country, founded as one nation under God. Remember.
The single red rose reminds us of their families and loved ones and the love of our country, which inspire them to answer the nation's call. Remember.
The candle and the yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting hope, peace, and determination to account for those who are missing. Remember.
The slices of lemon on the plate remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. The white napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends. Remember.
The salt upon the plate represents the tears endured by those missing and their families who wait and seek answers. Remember.
The glass turned upside down reminds us that our distinguished comrades cannot be with us to drink a toast or join in the festivities of the event. Remember. Remember all who served with them and called them comrades, who depended upon their might and aid, and relied upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember, remember, until the day they come home, remember.
At this time, we would like to recognize and thank Sergeant Major Doug Schaefer for his willingness to be with us today and share his message. Please accept this gift as a token of our appreciation. We would also like to thank Bart Winiger of Bart Woodworks for his generous donation of a handcrafted plaque for Mr. Schaefer. And a special thanks to the Coshocton Coffee Connection, which not only employs some of our students, but also kindly donated a gift card for Mr. Schaefer. Thank you to these local businesses for helping us honor our veterans.
As we come to the end of our Veterans Day ceremony, we want to give you our most heartfelt thank yous to any veteran who has, is, or will be serving in our military. On the screen, you'll see the following veterans, along with Mr. Schaefer, who have served our nation. These names are submitted to us by our staff and students at the Career Center. Brennan Alverson, U.S. Navy. Nathan Meek, U.S. National Guard. Caleb Meek, U.S. Army Reserves. James Greeton, U.S. Navy. Braden Lewis, Ohio National Guard. Gage Bosson, U.S. Navy. Ernest Weirs, U.S. Navy. Curtis Harstein, U.S. Army. James Harstein, U.S. Army. Robert McCormick Sr., U.S. Navy. Nick Shaw, U.S. Army and Career Center CSI instructor. Ralph Edward Tipton Jr., U.S. Army. William Ishmael, U.S. Army. Heather Stouffer, U.S. Air Force. Brad Colmar, U.S. Army. Ashley Woolston, National Guard, Utah. Gene Bass, Navy. Also with us today is Robert Moore. Mr. Moore is a Desert Shield / Desert Storm veteran. He graduated in 1988 from Riverview High School. He is a Career Center completer of the Automotive Mechanics program and enlisted at the U.S. Army following graduation. He did basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and was stationed at Fort Hood. He was honorably discharged on September 7, 1990, and received the National Defense Medal. I'm sure most of us have seen the veterans' banners on lampposts in downtown Coshocton and along the Three Rivers Memorial Bridge. If you have traveled through the villages of West Lafayette, Conesville, Warsaw, or Plainfield, you have likely seen them there too. Mr. Moore, in partnership with the Blue Star Mothers, has been instrumental in organizing and maintaining this important program to honor our local veterans. Mr. Moore, please stand to be recognized. We are proud to call you as a Career Center alumnus and thank you for your service. At this time, if you are a veteran, an active duty service member, or a reservist with us today, please stand to be recognized. Thank you for your service.
As we close our assembly today, we honor our veterans with the playing of taps. This simple 24-note melody has a deep meaning for all those who have served. Originally composed during the Civil War, taps was a signal call for lights out at the end of the day. Today, taps is played at military funerals and memorials to show respect in those who have served and sacrificed. As you listen to taps today, remember the service members who gave their lives for our country. The melody is a reminder to all of us to honor their memory and keep their legacy alive. Please stand for the playing of taps. You may be seated. On behalf of the National Technical Honor Society, thank you for your attention during today's ceremony. At this time, Mr. Slaughter will offer some closing remarks.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to recognize our Career Center team member one more time, Mr. Nick Shaw, a veteran of the United States Army. Please stand. We would also like to recognize any of our Career Center students who are active or enlisted in any of the branches of the military. Please stand so you can be recognized as well. I would like to thank our guest speaker, Doug Schaefer, for being here today to share his experience and wisdom with all of us. Thank you to Robert Moore for being here and all of his contributions as well. We would like to thank New Point Church for allowing us to use their beautiful facility, specifically Lorene Hall and Sam Massey from New Point for their assistance in coordination with the production of today's assembly. Thank you as well to Jacob Heading, Bryce Haynes, Natalie Holbrook, Judd Bone, and Claxton Communications for live streaming and taking pictures of today's assembly. Thank you to Ms. Kaufman for the programs. And also, again, we'd like to thank Mr. Bart Winiger and the Coshocton Coffee Connection. I would also like to thank all of the NTHS members that played a role in today's assembly, as well as a special thank you to our NTHS advisors, Ms. Cassidy Meek and Mrs. Angie Smolder. Please stand so we can recognize all of you. For the veteran, thank you for bravely doing what you're called to do so that we can safely do what we are free to do. Thank you again, and we are so very grateful to have you here today to share your stories with us, as well as help us honor all of the veterans of our great country. Let's give all the veterans one last round of applause. Thank you all very much. We will begin dismissing our students out to the buses here shortly. Thank you. We will call to dismiss you by your classes just like we did to come over. Okay, so at this time, I need